Black metal is not just a way to describe body count. It is also my favorite subgenre of metal music. And today, I will be discussing the 20 best albums the genre has to offer. This ranking is 100% objectively, categorically, unequivocally correct. Alright, I graduated from Harvard with some loud cum, okay? So if you disagree with this list, then that means your favorite bands are Sleep Token and Deafheaven, you're 12, and your mama ain't shit.
Some of the things you hear about Colombia in the 80s, that's real. Yes, I saw the drive-by shootings. Yes, I witnessed death many occasions. Yes, I saw the guy getting chopped up, hacked up in a machete fight. I saw all that at a young age. And one way or another, it gets into the subconscious and it forms you and it hardens you.
Inquisition is one of the most beloved and consistent bands of the black metal underground. When Dagon isn't frantically clearing his hard drive, he is a black metal riff machine. Using only power chords and a handful of open chords, he's able to create these evil and atmospheric riffs. And let's not forget the second half of Inquisition, drummer Incubus, who provides rapid blast beats and is always switching up his fills throughout the songs to help keep everything interesting. You got tracks like Ancient Monumental War Hymn, Nocturnal Gatherings and Wicked Rites, Infernal Evocation of Torment. You know, these are all-time great tracks, and I think the production on this album sounds great, and Dagon's Bullfrog Croak is at peak croak. Melodic black metal mastery from Sweden. Unfortunately, a one-and-done band when it comes to albums because this album is phenomenal. I'm a big fan of Opeth, and to me this is almost kind of like black metal Opeth. A lot of beautiful and ethereal melodies, definitely easier on the ears than typical black metal, and the production is pretty good given the fact that this came out in 1996. These songs are mystical and melancholic, but still manage to have blast beats and riffs. And my favorite songs from the album would be Our Dawn of Glory and A Castle So Crystal Clear.
What is the primary ideology or primary ideas that fuel Gorgoroth's music? Satan.
As much as I love this album, I think the drums sound absolutely abysmal. It kind of sounds like someone is just hitting old furniture with a ruler. And even though this production is pretty raw, that does kind of come with the territory when it comes to black metal. And I would say I think the guitars and especially the vocals are enhanced by this rawness. Because even though it sounds like Pest's vocals were recorded with a 2002 Xbox Live microphone, it makes Pest sound like a blood-curdling demon. Guitarist and composer Infernus is a black metal songwriting genius. You got a pretty good amount of variety with the songs on this album. More melodic tunes like Funeral Procession and, oh boy, Odella Gelsi Og Undergang. You got groovier songs like Prophet Tens, Optenbearing, and The Devil Is Calling. And you got straight up scorchers like Revelation of Doom, Krieg, and Bloodstains the Circle.
Do you think it's kind of atmosphere and the Finnish nature and, you know, that we live in a kind of a dark country, do you think that affects the mindset?
Definitely it does. It's already, what fucking time is it now? Early. And it's fucking dark outside and raining and you can't be fucking happy in this country. Finland fucking sucks.
black metal legends Azagal are an elite black metal band that have been cranking out the good stuff going back to 1999 and continuing to this day. And I don't have an individual copy of this album. I have it as part of this 4-CD box set, but right there. And this album strays from the usual Finnish black metal sound, which I would say is kind of a bit more groovier, a bit more mid-tempo, mid to high tempo. This album is just unrelentingly fast, and these riffs are crushingly heavy. I mean, there are a couple groovier songs on this album, like Quetzalcoatl and Mailman, V Minen, Yo. But for the most part, these songs will put your ass on the floor. And one nice touch a few of these songs have is that there's kind of like this airy synth that makes some appearances here and there throughout the album, which I think helps make the album sound just icier overall. So I'm like, you know what? That's a nice touch, Azagal. I tip my cap to you.
Aboth of Immortal, all the way from Norway. It's your
Aboth.
Aboth. That's
No.
Or Aboth. Yeah. It's like
Aboth.
It's like Sabbath.
A shower. Oh, it's Aboth. Yeah. Or in Norwegian, Abat.
Yeah, it's like
Abat. Abat.
You want to talk about icy? Immortal will give you brain freeze. As you can see, I got the CD here, the vinyl there. Now, I don't know what it is exactly about Immortal's sound, but to me, they are the epitome of like icy black metal. And how appropriate that their best work is called At the Heart of Winter. Immortal is a quality band, and if you are someone that, say, prefers Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism or Sons of Northern Darkness, I wouldn't really push back too hard on that. Although if you said that Damned in Black was your favorite, I'd say you have CTE.
We're dark and light don't compare. We're dark and light don't compare.
This album is Immortal at their most epic. 6 tracks, 46 minutes, and I love the different twists and turns that these songs take. You got some frantic, thrashy, black metal guitar riffs mixed in with the occasional clean guitars, but everything is cohesive. These songs are not a Frankenstein mishmash of riffs, like everything just flows nicely and the songs kick ass. Baptism is the most underrated Finnish black metal band and one of the most underrated bands in black metal, period. They are a band that has been generally trending upward with every release since they started in 2000. The group is masterminded by Lord Sargophagian, who composes the songs and is sometimes credited with playing all the instruments, although more recently he has had more outside musicians come in, both in the studio and to play live. Some notable names include Spellgoth from Horna, who does clean vocals on the prayer for this album, and Hoth Torog from Behexen, who has a guest vocal appearance on the song Chalice of Death? Yes, Chalice of Death. But what I think makes Baptism so special is how they write these songs that have just this ethereal, melancholic vibe to it. You know, I would describe their style as basically being a more melodic and catchy version of the classic Finnish black metal sound.
How does Satanism reflect on your everyday life? Say, companionship, work, mundane tasks, or does it only have power or meaning when it goes outside to normality?
Well, it's that I would always choose my own will over what society or others expect from me. So I live up to my own standards, up to my own morals and values, and that's what's holy for me.
I think Asagram is the best black metal band to come out within the past 10 years. And one of the things that kind of bugs me about the discourse with this band is that I feel like people kind of just reduce them to being just like a second wave influenced black metal act, which I'm like, do you people not hear the atmospheres that Obscura is able to create with her riffs and her overdubs? These songs just have an ambiance that is just absolutely enveloping. You know, you have cacophonous hell music songs like Transformation and Leviathan, but you also have some songs that, at least to me, sound kind of emotive. You know, songs like Gospel of Ignition, Carried by Lucifer's Wings. I hear yearning in the music, alright? I don't know what it is, but it touches me, alright? I feel it.
We are here to make, a statement saying that, yeah, Mayhem, we rule. We are the fucking best metal band out there. If people don't recognize it, fuck them.
A classic for a goddamn reason. I'm not going to be going over the Dead/Varg/Euronymous drama because it's been stabbed to death who knows how many times. To me, this album is very spooky sounding. It sounds haunted. It was one of the first 5 black metal albums that I ever heard when I first got into the genre years ago, and I still love it today as much as I did then. Hellhammer's drums sound amazing, and his playing is amazing as well. I think Euronymous has the perfect guitar tone for this album, and even though it does rub some people the wrong way, I love Attila's vocals on this album. I think it's very unique for black metal, and I actually really like when he does that weird kind of groaning thing, when he's like...
Did Mayhem ever play here?
Yes, Mayhem played here.
Attila, Opera House.
To the elder ruins again.
Yeah. Attila.
Another Finnish band, and this album shows the band moving into a more melodic direction. I feel like a lot of Horna's stuff around this time generally emphasized rawness and kind of had an FU black metal mentality. But this album sounds a lot more musical to me. Not necessarily explicitly melodic, kind of like something like Dissection, but the songs are just, I would say, generally more catchier. The album opener, Vihanti, was the song that really helped make Necro production click with me. You know, for the longest time, I was really turned off by the raw production of a lot of black metal, but when I was listening to this song and it gets to the melodic bit about 1:20 in, everything just clicked for me.
We wanted to continue the primitive sound that bands like Bathory and Celtic Frost, because thrash metal had toned down, became more straight. Death metal, on the other hand, became more technical. I saw what Chuck did with Death and I was going, hell, it sucks. Sorry to say. So we wanted to escape the modern metal style, the clicky drums and all that. We were drawn to just playing.
Panzerfaust is a very, very close second. I'm a huge fan of the song diversity on this album, but the #1 Darkthrone album for me has got to be Transylvanian Hunger. If this list were based solely on how influential an album is, then Transylvanian Hunger would be #1, because this album is by far and away the most ripped off album in all of black metal. This album opened up pathways to colder and more hateful black metal, but at the same time I find these riffs to be very beautiful and mystical sounding. You know, to me, listening to this album is like listening to magic happen live on a record. And speaking of ripping off Transylvanian Hunger, we have Judas Iscariot, whose earlier output was very derivative of Darkthrone's early output. But Akhenaten, the creative mastermind behind Judas Iscariot, he kept working at his craft, kept honing his songwriting, and eventually he was able to build upon that style and create something that was awesome and totally his own. These songs are super hateful, and there's a good amount of songwriting variety throughout the album. The album opens up with an epic kind of song, then you have a scorcher and bathed in clouds of blood. You've got a groovier kind of keyboard-laden track, In the Valley of Death, I Am Their King. In my opinion, this is the best album that US black metal has to offer.
And it's a fine day to die, regardless if you're going to win or lose or die or whatever. It's a fine day to die.
It's fucking Bathory, people. I mean, come on. This is one of, if not the first black metal album that I ever heard, and I was immediately hooked on A Fine Day to Die, probably in my top 10 favorite songs of all time. The songwriting of the epics is top-notch, and the scorchers will leave your ass feeling like you just ate some good curry. Under the Sign of the Black Mark definitely deserves a shout, probably the heavier of the two, but for me on Bloodfire Death, listening to that album is just such a transcendental experience that it's my favorite Bathory. Famous woke band Nocturnal Mortem, who hail from Ukraine, really outdid themselves with The Voice of Steel. How do you even describe The Voice of Steel? It's black metal mixed with like Ukrainian folk music, mixed with some Bathory-esque Viking metal, mixed with Pink Floyd. That may sound like an impossible combination of musical ideas, but you just gotta listen to it for yourself. One of those albums that you hear and you're just like, how do you even come up with music like this? You know, and I'd like to give a shout out to Lunar Poetry as well. You know, phenomenal melodic black metal, but The Voice of Steel is a creative masterstroke. And you know Nocturnal Mortem loves stroking it. Bluish-purple album cover art supremacy is real, and Lord Belial is no exception. Melodic, black metal mastery from Sweden. This is one of the most beautiful sounding black metal albums that I've ever heard. This album incorporates some very pretty, like clean female vocals, as well as some acoustic guitar passages. I think Lord Belial are the most underrated Swedish black metal band, and my favorite songs from this album are Path of Endless Horizons and Lamia.
We went on tour in the UK in '93.
Yeah.
But it was not organized.
Okay.
You know, we didn't have a plan. We just showed up with our instruments. We didn't have a tech rider or anything. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just turned up. I was 17, you know, what do you know when you're 17? And we didn't know anyone in the music business.
As you can see, my copy of the album is completely fucked. And I know it's kind of a 50-50 take as to whether this album or Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk is the better Emperor album. But my Emperor hot take is that I think In the Nightside Eclipse is actually head and shoulders above Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk. In my opinion, I just find Anthems to be a little bit too chaotic for my liking, whereas In the Nightside Eclipse is perfect, frigid, evil, symphonic black metal. These songs are just absolutely enveloping. You know, hearing the rain and thunder on Into the Infinity of Thoughts, it just sucks you into the landscape that's on that album cover. You also have the classic I Am the Black Wizards, as well as my favorite song on the album, Beyond the Great Forest. And one thing I gotta say real quick is that Ihsan has gotta stop smoking that Prometheus pack. He's gotta stop doing that worthless solo project he has that only friggin' hoodie hipster, pitchfork reading, poser ass black metal fans read. You know, get back to making some real Emperor stuff. You know, have Samoth go to jail again, have Faust stab someone in the woods, whatever you gotta do to get the creative juices flowing, because at the end of the day, you cannot compromise on art.
There was lots of different opinions within the band about what we were doing, and I always wanted to put emphasis on the satanic concept, as I see that's the reason why I'm playing, that's the reason why I'm writing lyrics, that's the reason why I'm doing Dissection.
The best melodic black metal album, and yes, this is melodic black metal, not melodic death metal, as some of you people try to claim, because Dissection is a Swedish band, and I imagine if they were doing death metal, they would have done it with that classic, muddy, Swedish death metal guitar tone, which this album does not have. Dissection was masterminded by famous murder conspirator John Neutveit, who is a melodic genius, and these songs are just powerful, emotive, and blasphemous. I mean, what more can you ask for?
What is the album in your collection that nobody will expect you to have?
Okay, let me see. Limal, A Never Ending Story.
Brilliant.
First press.
Taake is one of the most unique Norwegian black metal bands, and my Taake hot take is that Norges Vapen, which I would say most people would consider their favorite, is actually only their third best album, being behind the debut and of course, Portaland's Doedskava. This album has a nice mix of heavy and melodic songs, with the heavy songs being 1, 2, and 7, and the melodic songs being 3, 4, 5, with the 6th song being an instrumental. I just love the songs on this album. You have a lot of good songwriting variety, and Taake is the most underrated Norwegian black metal band, in my opinion, although I'm always right, so that's the truth. You people just can't handle the fucking truth, alright? Mgla is legit. This album is straightforward, pissed off, and hateful. Just pure nihilism. These songs are fairly repetitive, but drummer Darkside, he does a really good job of switching up his beats underneath the guitar riff to help keep all the songs interesting. A great album to put on if you're in a pissy mood. This album is great, and if you don't like it, then your favorite band is friggin' Snow White's Poison Bite. Remember how I said that Transylvanian Hunger was the most influential record in all of black metal? Sargeist built their whole career off that sound. But I rank this album higher than Transylvanian Hunger because, in my opinion, Shoutrag, the main composer behind Sargeist, he took Transylvanian Hunger as a foundation and he built upon and expanded that sound to add more mystical sounding elements, some more progressive songwriting structures, things like that. This album is so damn good, even the B-sides, Moon Growing Colder and Nightmares and Necromancy, kick ass. If some other black metal band would have wrote those songs would have been that band's biggest hits. And before we get to top spot, just want to run through some honorable mentions real quick. Panzer Division Marduk, The Rain and Blood of black metal, Mishearing, Orgia from 2019. Modern black metal kind of has unorthodox, unusual melodies and harmonies, but really kick-ass. Gehenna, WW, just pure hateful nihilistic black metal. And of course, Burzum, Philosophine, and yes, this is the copy. I know it doesn't have the real artwork. I love the first 3 songs on this album, Dunkelheit, Jesus Toad, and Beholding the Daughters of the Firmament. But I mean, if I'm being honest with you, that 26-minute ambient track, Circumambulation of the Transcendental Pillar of Singularity, that shit sucks. I know people like Dungeon Sid, but I don't really care for it. And then you got Decrepitude 1 and 2. To me, those are kind of forgettable, but I mean, this was one of the first black metal albums I ever listened to, got me in the genre, so I feel like I gotta give it a mention nonetheless. The greatest album in all of black metal history, by the blessing of Satan, by Behexen, and in my opinion, it is either Behexen or Sargeist, kind of depends what mood I'm in, that is the greatest black metal band. And to me, it's an absolute disgrace that no one talks about Behexen. You know, there are people out here listening to Deafheaven, Sleep Token, and God forbid, Alpha Wolf. This album hits the highest peaks of the genre. It has doomy riffs, it has scorchers, it has black and roll elements, it even has some progressive elements too. The production and atmosphere on this album are top-notch. There are moments of ethereal beauty and crushing brutality. This album has everything. It is a jack of all trades and a master of all of them. So that is my list. I will not be accepting any criticism whatsoever in the comment section below. Like I said, I graduated from Harvard, so I'm very smart. I'm always right. If you disagree with anything in this list, it says much more about you than it does about me.
Subscribe to the Downfall Network.
No!